Hello and welcome to another What Sold video. This is going to be everything that sold for me on eBay from March 22nd to March 28th. And the reason why I'm not doing the full end of March is because honestly I had so many sales at the end of the March that this video would be too long and I don't want to edit that. So I'm breaking it up into two videos. So we're gonna have this 1 week and then we'll have the last few days in March later. Hopefully you guys are cool with that. Anyway, it's what's going to happen. So either you'll watch it or you won't. But this is everything that sold for me from March 22nd to March 28th. And we're going to scoot over here. Miss Moxie, of course, is down below wanting all of the pets. But this is a pair of new Calvin Klein jeans. I found these at the bins and they still had the belt with them. I offered these up for sale on Whatnot. Nobody bought them, but they sold on eBay for $19.44, which is not a surprise to me. I knew with tag stuff, even in these small brands or ones that you would find at like Marshalls or TJ Maxx, they still sell pretty well for me, especially if they're new with tags. This is Spring Step L'Artiste Desi. The Spring Step shoe brand as a whole is not necessarily a good seller, but the L'Artiste line is. And I actually found these at the bin, so I paid $3.50 for them, and I knew that they would sell quickly. They just needed a quick rub down with the Anglist cleaner because these are leather and the Anglist cleaner's leather safe, and they cleaned right up, and I got an offer for $30, so to turn 3.5 into 30 pretty quickly. I'm very pleased with this. I'm not quite sure why nobody seems to know about these at the bins, but I'm pretty happy and will happily pick up all of them that I see. Speaking of the bins, if you've watched any of my bins videos, I do go through the bins very meticulously where I push everything over to one side to where I see the bottom of the bin, and then I literally pick up every single piece of clothing until I reach the bottom of the bin on the other side. And that is because of the fact that I have found some really great stuff at the bottom of the bins. Not only have I found like a fresh donation pile that had new with tags Tommy Bahama and like gift cards as well, but sometimes something the size of a gift card will be worth quite a bit of money. And I found this folded up handkerchief at the bottom of one of the bins, and it was really beautiful. I was like, this is just an absolutely gorgeous like peak 60s mod print. And it wasn't until I got home and did the haul did I realize that this is an Emilio Pucci scarf. Emilio Pucci is a mid-century designer, most well known for his brilliant, colorful, beautiful, like quintessential 60s prints. If you find his dresses, they are worth hundreds of dollars depending on the condition and the print and the style. This is definitely one of those vintage brands to be on the lookout for because they all sell really well and for high ASP and actually pretty fast. This sold within 48 hours of me listing it, which for vintage is amazing, and it sold for my full asking price of $44.87 for something that literally probably cost me 25 cents or less at the bins. That was folded up. It was folded up into basically the size of a credit card. So this was a great sale and I'm super glad that I found that. Love it. This is an Alaskan Hard Gear, which is a subline of Duluth Trading. It's considered their harder wear or the heavier wear than their normal Duluth stuff. And this was a size tall, large. I do pick up size tall stuff whenever I find it, just like I find petite stuff, and I will pick that up as well because everybody needs clothes. This sold for $20 on an offer. It did take a while to sell. I've noticed that some of my Duluth stuff is slowing down, but it's still very good as a bread and butter brand for me. This is a pair of Y2K Nike Dry Fit pants. These are also something that I put up on Whatnot. They didn't sell on Whatnot, but they sold on eBay for $13.50. I knew they were Y2K because they had the gray Fit Dry tag on them, and that was what they used in the aughts. This is an Eileen Fisher piece. It is a beautiful silk. It's so basic looking, like it's basic, which is why I put minimalist shirt because it is just like a nice neutral color. I do normally put minimalist in when I feel like it's gonna fit that aesthetic, like that elevated, well, it's not the clean girl aesthetic, that's makeup. What is it called? Like, I don't remember what the style's called, but sold for $21.87, even though it is a size medium. Sold pretty quickly for me. This is a viewer sale, so Dot, thank you very much. I found this at the thrift store, and it's a Lululemon piece in a men's size extra large. Dot bought this from me. Dot, thank you very much. And it sold for $26.87, and I'm so glad that it went to a viewer because I know it's gone to a good home. So Dot, thank you so much for all your support. I really do appreciate it. This is a book. I sell a lot of books. Books are about a quarter of my inventory, between a quarter and a third of my inventory totally on my store, and they are about that much in my sales. Sometimes it's even more than that. This is The Runaway Jury. I don't normally pick up thrillers unless they're first editions from well-known authors, and then they have to be also in really good shape. This is a 1996 hardcover. It sold for $9.87 with free shipping. Another item that I found at the bins, I offered it for sale on Whatnot. Actually super surprised that nobody bought this from me on Whatnot because it was an amazing like Y2K 2XL cotton house dress with like pockets. It had beautiful embroidery on around it. Nobody bought it from me for $2, so it sold for $21.14, pretty much within 48 hours of me listing it, which again, for vintage is pretty great. And because I found this at the bins, I probably paid like less than $2 for it, which is amazing because our dress prices around here is like $9. So very happy with this sale. This is another item that I found at the bins. I put it up for sale and Whatnot. It didn't sell there, but I knew that it would sell on eBay because the print. This was such a great print. Also, it was green and the size. So it was this green like tapestry floral, and it was like a nice lightweight 2XL button front shirt, kind of giving the Hawaii vibes. But it just looked so cool, and you know, I have a hard time leaving green stuff behind at the bins. So it sold on eBay for $16.87. Can't beat that. I picked this up also, I believe, at the bins, but instead of having a button front, it was an eyelet closure. So it was just all the hooks and eyes like this, and it was like that all the way down. I just thought it was an interesting looking piece, and somebody else did as well, and they bought it for me for $17.50. I was so shocked when I found this at the Dab for $6 that no one had picked this up before me. When I saw the Keith Haring print all over it, if you did not know, Keith Haring was a very well-known artist in the 80s. He sadly passed away from complications of AIDS in 1990. His artwork is like, I'm sure you've seen it. It's like the little dude, little basic dude. His stuff, if you can find the vintage t-shirts from him, they can be very valuable. But this was a collaboration between the Keith Haring Foundation and H&M. Sold for $32.87, so my full asking price. I'm so happy with that. And especially since, you know, it's an H&M collab, I thought this was brilliant. This is a bins find. It was Chicken Coops, How to Build Chicken Coops book. It was new. It had like the edges were crisp. Everything about this was crisp, so I put it as new. It sold for $12.87. I paid 25 cents for this. This is a brand new sealed Best of U2, and I picked this up for $1 at the retail side of Goodwill. It sold for $10.09 free shipping. I will pick up new sealed CDs whenever I find them because it's an easy listing for me and is normally also an easy sale. This is a bundle sale, so I have it set up to where almost all of my books are buy 3 get 1 free, and also it's free shipping. So if someone buys more books, I make more money. And these are all books by Kafka, who is most well known for his book The Metamorphosis. Kind of a depressing writer, but really solid prose. And I've had 2 of these vintage 70s books from Kafka, and then this brand new book, Blue Octavio, and it's the Notebook Blue Octavio. And somebody sent me offers for both of these, and I was like, sure, absolutely, because I have 30 cents into these books. So 30 cents turned into $20.64, and then it cost $4.87 to ship these. So, you know, I still made like $13 from the sale. So again, I make more money if someone buys more books from me, but I'm never going to lose money on these books, and I will talk about that in the last sale to actually show you the maths. So this is a book I picked up at a small thrift called Village Thrift in Newport News. I found this for $1. The reason I picked this up, despite it missing its dust jacket, which I've gotten questions before, do I still pick up books if they don't have their dust jackets? It just depends on the book. That's honestly my answer always. It depends on the book. Some books I would never pick up without the dust jacket. Some books I will happily pick up without the dust jacket. This one did not have its dust jacket, but it was signed by the author, and this is a limited print of a very integral part to American history. This is about the CSS Virginia, which is one of the first ironclads. So I knew it would sell, paid $1 for it, sold it for $25 free shipping, so I made, you know, 18 bucks off of this sale. That big figs buyout I did, when I managed to be at the right place, right time, I found a whole size, like a whole Z-rack full of figs in a men's size large. I have $11 into this set. It sold for $44.87, so my full asking price. I would love to do that again. That was such a good find, and like literally right place, right time. And this is the week that everything sold, like the rest of it sold. So I don't have any more of that as of the end of March. This is a Chico's piece. I picked this up at the Dab in Williamsburg. I'd originally picked this up for my mom to try to see if she liked it. She did not. She didn't like the way it fit. So it sold for $16. And yeah, I try to pick her up stuff that I think she might like that would fit her. Sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not, but this is one of the not. But I knew that if she didn't want it, I could easily sell it. So I paid $5 for this at the Dav, sold it for $16. This is a vintage piece. I picked this up at an estate sale. I believe I paid $4 for this at an estate sale. It was from the 60s. It was a maxi length. It was union made, and it sold for $25. It's extra small. Now, for those of you vintage sellers might be losing your mind right now that I only sold this for $25. This thing had been listing for like 2 years. And so when I got a $25 offer, I was just like, sure, just take it. I'm making money, and there's honestly, if someone had like a vintage shop in some place like California or New York or whatever, I'm sure they could probably get like $75 to $100 for this dress and make profit buying it from me for $25. I don't care. I made my money. It can move on to a new home because like I said, I've literally had this for 2 years. So I made my money. I'm perfectly happy to let this go. Someone else can make money off of it. Fine. This is another book I picked up from that big book buyout I did over the summer. Last summer, you got Benedict Cumberbatch on the front here because apparently this was a limited BBC series as well. But it was new, sold for $17.87, and I have 10 cents into that book. This is a pair of 90s silver tab jeans. These were I found these at the Dav in Williamsburg. I paid $10 for these jeans. They sold for $50. I love my silver tabs. There are modern silver tabs now. They brought it back for a limited run in 2018. So Silver Tab was originally created as a brand line in 1980, either 1987 or 1988. And they brought it back for their 30th anniversary, I believe in 2017 or 2018. And then now, because the 90s is such a big deal, like that's what Gen Z wants to wear, Levi's has brought the line back, but the tags all look different. So you'd be able to tell which one it is based on the tag. But these were a pair of the original 90s, and they were size 38-30s. I will pick up Silver Tab whenever I find them, regardless if it's modern or vintage. It's just where in that spectrum of money it's going to fall in as far as resale value. This is a J. Crew piece, another piece I picked up at the bins, offered it up for sale on Whatnot. Didn't sell on Whatnot, but it sold for $16.87 on eBay, and that's because of the puff sleeves. I find puff sleeves, I'm picking up puff sleeves because puff sleeves moves for me. Any top that I can put puff sleeves as a keyword in the thing sells for me. So I will continue to pick up puff sleeves. This is also from that big figs buyout. Most of them were complete sets, but I also had some random pieces as well. So these are 2 of the pants. So I paid $6.50 for the pants. This person bought 2 pairs of those Pisco pants for $43.74. This is something I picked up when I went thrifting with Courtney, Common Tags. When I went to California, I got to spend time with Matt and I got to spend time with her, which I feel very privileged to do so because both of them are amazing people. And this sold for $19.87. I picked up this at the bins when I went to the bins with Courtney. And I was surprised it took so long to sell, but it did sell, and it did sell for my full asking price on eBay. Okay, so this next piece I also found at the bins. I paid 50 cents for it. And I am so surprised that none of the other book buyers picked this up. Although I'm not surprised because I have a very special niche of books that I pick up, and I kind of know what the other book buyers that are regulars at the bins also pick up. So this was very much in my wheelhouse and very much probably not in theirs. But this is The Anarchist Tool Chest by Christopher Schwartz. Yes, just like the Anarchist Cookbook. You can find an original like Anarchist Cookbook. Those can be worth very good money. But I knew this was also good money. Again, I paid 50 cents for it and it sold within 48 hours of me listing it for $45. So very happy day at the bins when I found this. So very excited about that. This is another part of that big book buyout. So I have 10 cents into this book. I picked this up because it was new and it was a book by an author in English that is harder to find in English. So it sold for $14.87. I would not have picked this book up if it was pre-owned unless I found a couple of their books at the same place. So I could do a lot in the used condition, but brand new, absolutely. I also like to pick up vintage pulps as well. This is Edgar Allan Poe. I actually sold this book on Whatnot and I also sold it on eBay, and I made more money on Whatnot from this book than I did on eBay. So I have a wonderfully dedicated book clients on Whatnot, and yeah, I got 2 copies of this and I wanted to see where it would perform better at. It performed better on Whatnot than it did on eBay, but it sold in both places very quickly after I listed it. So this sold for $9.87 and I paid 25 cents for both of them because I found them at the bins. This is a book, however, I did put up for sale on Whatnot, and it didn't sell on Whatnot, but I've talked about before how I will pick up the hardcover Anne Rice books whenever I find them because they all consistently sell for me on eBay for $10. Free shipping. So $9.87 free shipping. It will always sell on eBay within a week of me listing it. I don't know if that's just like a me thing or what, but they move for me pretty quickly. I paid 50 cents for this at the bins, sold it for $9.87 free shipping, so it's $4.87 in shipping costs. I made like a few dollars. I love saving books from the trash. I have $3 into these ties. I went to a thrift store and they had everything super marked up. It's New to You, by the way. I'm so sad. Like, New to You used to be like a hidden gem. It used to be like my honey hole, and then the problem is the ladies realized that I was a reseller, and so they started paying attention to what I was buying. And then the next time I would come in, that thing would be marked up. And then like they've done it to the point now where like almost everything is like eBay prices or higher. So I only go there like once every few months now, where it used to be like something I would go to like once every like week. I'm very sad about that. But they had this big basket of ties and they were doing like half off accessories or whatever. And I asked, does that count for ties too? Because for me, that's an accessory, but whatever. So I sat on the floor and went through the whole basket. I found a bunch of really, what I would consider good ties, because you guys know how I feel about ties. I love selling them. They're normally pretty cheap. They're lightweight. They're easy to list. They don't take up much space in my inventory. Love ties. And these are 2 vintage 60s ties, and they sold for $20, and then the buyer paid for shipping. You can see here I did refund one of the shipping costs because it's not going to cost $10 to ship 2 ties that weigh all of 4 ounces. So I did refund him one of the shipping costs for this. But yeah, I love ties. You know, I almost always like 10x my money. It's great. Wonderful. This is another book from the big book buyout I did. So I have 10 cents into it, sold it for 10. This is Carol Choice Oates. It's a trade paperback. I would not normally pick up her stuff unless I get it in new condition. You guys know how I love my 90s knitwear. It sells for me. This is quintessential 90s in my personal opinion, like this with a pair of like either flare jeans or like the baggy wide leg light wash jeans, peak 90s. This sold for $12. I paid like $2 for this. Amazing. I will pick up vintage Lee. I will only pick up vintage Lee though. If you style it right, some modern Lee can sell too, but I normally just stick to the vintage. I found these at the bins. They sold for $14, so I probably have like $2 into these. Happy with this sale. I knew that this would sell because of the fact it was just beautiful. This is something that I paid $6.25 for, but I believed it would sell for me, even though Saturday Sunday typically is a Anthropologie brand that doesn't move very well. But this is like a standout piece. Like, look at this embroidery. It's gorgeous. It had this big like cross-stitch embroidery all the way around the hood, all the way down. It had a beautiful tie waist. This is how I like to photograph hooded things on Karen. I think it is a standout listing in my personal opinion. It sold for $21.87 pretty much 2 weeks after I listed it. So I think that was a good choice on my part. I will pick up religious texts when I find them in the good shape. I actually found 2 copies of the Quran at the bins, and of course nobody knew what they were because they weren't in English, but I did. So I picked up both of these. This is the first one that sold. This actually sold within a week of me listing it for $16.89, and that is because if you wanted to get a Quran, a beautiful leather-bound Quran like this, and the original Arabic, you would have to have it shipped from Saudi Arabia. Those were the only resellers that I saw that had these beautiful like leather-bound copies of the Quran. And that would be like a $45, $50 expense, so I figured these would sell quickly if I priced them right. This is a second pair of the same set of figs. Again, sold for my full asking price of $44.87, and I have $11 into that set. And then, here we go. This is The Last Action Hero, which is a movie I remember watching when I was a kid with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He put out these really like cute, like kid-centered movies in the 90s that were what originally endeared Arnold Schwarzenegger to me, because I was a 90s kid, so yeah. I picked this up at the bins because I couldn't let this go. I did put this up for sale on Whatnot. It didn't sell on Whatnot, but it did end up selling on eBay for $7.87. And every time I do one of these videos and people see me selling books for like $6 or $7 with free shipping, they're like, how in the world do you make money? And I get that not everyone is good at math, and that's totally fine. It's something that I super love. And they seem to have a hard time figuring out how in the world I'm making any money or like not losing money by offering free shipping on these books. Despite the fact that I say like some of these I'm not making a whole lot of money on, and I will never lose money on the books based on how I price stuff. So gratefully, if you are not good at math, because I know not everyone's great at it, eBay will do the math for you. So $7.87 sold for my full asking price. I did ship this, medium mail shipping. If you click on the order when you've sold something after you've shipped it, eBay has all the math done for you to make it easier. So this book sold for $7.87. eBay charged them 55 cents for sales tax, so the total order for the buyer was $8.42. All right. eBay then takes that 55 cents out for the tax for whatever state the person is buying it from. And then this transaction fees. So this is what I paid eBay to have the privilege of listing on their website, $1.43. The shipping label was $4.13 because it's media mail, and that is the flat rate for 1 pound of media mail, regardless of how heavy it falls into there. It's not like Ground Advantage where it's a different price based on how many ounces it is. Media mail, if it pound or less, it's $4.13. And you can see here my order earnings. So without taking out cost of goods or my shipping expenses like the poly mailers and stuff, it's $2.31. I paid 25 cents for this book. So that means it's $2.06, okay? So that means I made $2.06, and you're trying to be pedantic about it. And you're like, but what about the poly mailers you mentioned? Well, I will refer you to my video on how I ship books and why I don't count that shipping expense, because the majority of my shipping supplies I get for free or at such a low cost, it's like literally a penny. So it's a negligible amount to me. So I still made $2 from this book. That's how I make money. I have priced all of my books to where I will never lose money. And you're like, well, we've seen you sell books for like $5.87. Yes. Because it's $5.87, the fees are going to be lower on eBay because they charge a percentage based on the total sale cost. So even if you used this math and just took $2 off, I still made 6 cents. Is that a lot? No, but it's also not 6 cents because, like I said, everything's going to be less. So that's why I always say you do you, because I know most of you don't want to take the time to list a book to only make 6 cents. I get that. That sounds insane to a lot of people. I'm doing it because I'm trying to build up my book business, okay? And I'm trying, the more things I offer for buy 3 get 1 free, the more likely people are going to take that. Now, if someone does buy 3 get 1 free on my bookstore and they're all $5.87 books, that means that their order total is still going to be over $16. So even after I ship all of that, because my buy cost is so low, I rarely pay more than $1 for a book. Most of the time it's between 50, 25, and 10 cents for books for me. So if I sold 4 books, all of them cost $1, which is like the maximum amount I normally spend, all right? I ship them and it costs $6 to ship them. I'm still making like $5. Like, and again, I know that's not for everyone, but people that love books, as someone who is a book lover, if someone buys from me a bunch of books and they realize that I'm good at shipping them, I get new inventory all the time, they're going to keep coming back to my store and I'm going to have repeat buyers. And that's what I'm trying for. I'm trying to build up my book, the book portion of my business. So again, you do you. When I say I don't lose money selling books for $5.87 or higher, I don't lose money selling books. So there's the math for you. I hope that was helpful. I just normally, whenever I do these what sold videos, I get at least one comment like that. So I promise I'm good at math. I keep my buy cost super low. I keep my shipping cost super low, which again is in that video that I will link up above. And I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, bye!